Spring and summer 2024 fashion is all about frills and bows, girly stuff. I'm all in. I found this free summer dress pattern which checks all the boxes. It's the Milana dress by Vikisews and I've decided to make it. Hi, welcome to my eclectic channel. My name is Agnes and I make videos for fun. The little number I'm wearing, by the way, is a summer dress that I did not buy recently. I did not buy it at all. It's a hand-me-down that I got as a child. Vintage, I can't quite tell you, not because I don't want to give away my age, but because I don't quite know. When it landed in my house, it was the 1980s. And apparently that's what we're bringing back in 2024. This series is so long. I have a number of them on my channel. Under each video in this series, do check the description for relevant links. For instance, links to the free patterns that I'm using for this project. I'm actually combining two of them. I'm going to be providing more details as we go through this series, but I have two words of warning up front. Number one, the amount of fabric that they recommend, I think, is very, very tight. I did end up making some modifications that might have increased my needs a little bit, but I also rounded up the recommended amount. So I would definitely round up and then add half a yard to a yard on top of that to be sure. Number two, if you're a pear shape, the only way you can get this pattern to work for you is if you add a side zipper. If you have very wide hips, this may not be the pattern for you. My hip to bust ratio is 1.06, meaning that my hips are a little wider than my bust, and I push this pattern to its limit without adding a side zipper. I'm going to explain this in more detail when we get to that point, but I wanted to put this up front. Absolutely put together a mock-up first, which is what I did. We'll come back to the pattern design shortly. I made a quick mock-up and the fit for the bodice is all good. Like I have no complaints there. It is kind of forgiving, but I mean the cups, the shoulders, everything lines up. So at first glance, this is looking good. With one caveat, in order to get it on Tanya, and I've also tried this on me in order to make sure, in order to get it up my hips or up Tanya's hips, I had to do something because it was a no-go. Would not get past the hips. And so what I had to do was to actually undo some of the side seam on the skirt, and then I was able to pull that on. I pinned it back. Going back to the pattern, there's actually a very simple explanation for this problem. So if I were making like a formal version of this dress, which you totally could do, you could use like a more, a fancier fabric. The instructions are beautiful. It's for a fully lined dress, so there's no reason why you would use a casual fabric and make just a summer dress out of it. You could totally make that more formal. And if you did that, I think it would look very nice, because here's what we have going on. What we have in the back, it's the way it is, it's you barely need an elastic back there. So you could easily put a couple darts. Elastics are, it kind of brings down a garment. You would not have a visible elastic band on a formal gown. So you could finish that nicely, put a couple darts to make it fit exactly, and then you would put in a side zipper right here, and we'd have a full formal gown. You could lengthen the skirt. The sky's the limit. But that is not what I intend to do. My intention is to make this into a proper summer dress, like something that I can wear when it's hot. that means that the fully lined version, I don't think it's that good idea. Is that good of an idea? This is quite a revealing dress, so it makes it nice and airy for the summer. But then if you line it, then what is it? Is it warm? Is it cool? It becomes, in my mind, not very usable. So if I'm going to make this into a summer dress, I'm going to use a light cotton or linen blend, and then I'm not going to have a lined dress. And I am also going to go with the elastic idea in the back. So no side zipper. And in order to make that possible, we need to go back and modify the pattern. So let's talk about why this dress cannot be pulled on, at least not for me, and how we can fix that. The reason I can't pull it on is because I have a small bust. So when I choose my size, it always happens that my hips and my waist are in a bigger size than what my bust is. So I cut, and this is what you should do. You cut the size that corresponds to your bust size, because that's the hardest thing to modify if it doesn't fit. So I got the dress to fit at my bust, but then the bottom of it is simply meant for a smaller person than I am. By a lot. So here I have my doubts. Unless you're a busty, you can't even be an hourglass here. This will work out of the box if you are busty and straight otherwise. That body type, like you're a teenage girl and your chest developed first. I don't know if that exists, but yeah, if I measure the front, that's 33 centimeters, and then I can add the back, that's 37. So that's 70 centimeters. That's tiny, you guys. My hips are 87 centimeters, so I'm missing 17 centimeters. So there's no way, because this all gets attached. You get a full skirt out of that, so a full waist, and it just doesn't pull over the hips, end of story, and from the top even less. So we need to fix that. And before I get to that, I would mention one more thing. This is a pattern where you only get to download one size. So get the right one, choose your bust size. Mine happens to fit at the waist. If yours doesn't, if you have a bigger or a smaller waist, you will be adjusting the front of the skirt. You'd be adjusting the waist, using pretty much the same method as I'm going to be using on the back to make it bigger. So if you need to make this bigger or smaller, is the slash and pivot method that I'm about to use on the back of the skirt. So I'm not going to touch the front because my waistline is just fine, but I am going to give a lot more, I'm going to increase the size on the back of the waist, so that I can pull this over my hips, and then it gets brought in by an elastic band. And we'll work on that next time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely put together. Okay.